Hey, what's up? Welcome to Heal, Laugh, and Rise Up. I'm Jessie, your badass two-time cancer fighter, soul work mentor, and your favorite Latina.
Hi, and I'm Amber, a chemo nurse by day, caretaker to my husband by night, all while being a scrunchy mom.
We're here to talk all about our traumas and how we use them to grow, honey.
So grab your drink and let's get into today's miracle and shit show.
Do you think everybody has trauma?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know that that's like the word that everyone likes to use right now. And hey, I'm going to jump on that bandwagon because that's what it is. We're all going to trauma bond over here.
Yeah.
But it's because that's what everyone has. I'm not trying to give the word so much power as we like to say.
Right.
But I would like to point out that everyone has it. And can we stop using it like it's this glorified thing? Because then maybe the people who have trauma can feel less alone and realize, oh, everyone feels this way. How can I not be alone anymore? How can I share? How can I heal? How can I have my community? I think that's the whole point of this podcast, is we're here to share, heal, grow a community, make sure we don't feel alone, make sure people don't feel alone, because that's a shitty feeling.
Yeah, it is shitty. Because you know what? I didn't really tell people I was going through this.
No.
Because I had already had a counselor through Kaiser. They had already started me on medication. I can't even tell you what it is because we tried like 2 or 3 different ones.
And you should. It's not always going to be the first one.
Right, because it's not. And then you have to figure out what your dosage is.
And you have to stay on it for a little while to get past whatever side effect to see if it's going to work.
So it's a
Takes
process.
a lot of time.
It's a process.
Yes.
And we have to figure out what your dosage, and it just was not working. It was, if anything, it was so bad. I remember one time we were somewhere and Alex is like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I just remember sitting at the restaurant and like looking at something at the wall and feeling so dazed, like
numb.
Disconnected is the only word. And I've never felt that way. Now that's different than what I was feeling, anxious, super, what is the word you always say? We're overstimulant.
Yep.
So, like everything was overstimulating to me. I couldn't even go to eat at a restaurant. I didn't want to be there. It was just too noisy. It was too much. And that day I just felt
like every new mom with the crying baby.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, the overstimulation, girl.
Oh my God. You just want to lower everything.
And then you take everyone in all these different situations. Yours is different than mine, is different than a new mom, is different than, but we're all explaining the same thing. And that's, so what is the common denominator?
Right.
It's trauma.
Yes.
It's, we haven't worked and healed our trauma, our emotional self. The first time I heard, and I'm not here to tell your story.
Tell my story, girl. I'll let you. You're my lawyer. Because you're my memory guy. You're my memory guy. No, poor Amber. No. She's everything. Ay, pobrecita.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a doctor. I remember the first time I realized you were going through it really deep was we were probably at Hot Pot, because that's all we used to do. Hot Pot and running. We were running somewhere, having a drink somewhere, and eating Hot Pot. I think we're at Hot Pot, and you told me about being at the Clipper game, and your husband went to the restroom. And he took a little too long.
Oh my God.
And it might have only been, 2 minutes.
My God,
but that was too long for your brain.
Oh, I forgot about that.
To tell yourself he's just using the restroom. You couldn't keep that timeline up. So it started spiraling into all these what ifs. Why isn't he back? What if?
I forgot.
And that's when I realized that's not someone who is able, that's not a normal feeling. The term everyone likes to use is intrusive thoughts. It was an intense intrusive thought, which I think everyone has intrusive thoughts. But when they're happening and they're causing a physiological response, your heart rate is up. You can't control that. That's physiological.
You're breathing.
Shallow
breathing.
You can't catch your breath. You
get dizzy.
Having a physiological response. Yes. This has gone beyond just a basic little thought. This is a problem. You're not having an intrusive thought of, I want to harm myself or I want to harm others. That's a problem too. And there's a hospital you can go to for help with that. But there's not a known help for, I'm having these really intense, fearful thoughts. And a lot of new moms have those.
Yes.
Intrusive thoughts.
Yes.
And it's not like I want to drop my baby down the stairs. It's, oh my God, I'm standing so close to the stairwell with my brand new baby. And what if I drop my baby?
Yes.
Right? It's not that you want to harm someone else.
You're like, this
can
this is gonna happen.
And then it triggers this fear and this anxiety attack. You clearly don't know you have support around you. So how do I make sure you know you have
and I'm not
support?
speaking on it because I'm embarrassed to tell people the thoughts that I'm having. And even when I've told people, and I haven't said everything that I've thought, and the thoughts have gone a lot better, is it was always revolving around death, right?
Yeah.
It's not like, oh my God, I'm gonna burn the house down, or oh my God, I'm gonna just whatever, I'm gonna lose.
Which did you realize it's maybe because you just cheated death?
I didn't realize
It's
that.
coming for
I did
you.
not realize that until after I started working on myself and doing the shadow work and starting the plant medicine.
Final Destination shit right here.
No, I never
cheated death,
watched
and
that,
now
but
it's
I heard
coming
about
towards
that.
me.
I mean, I've heard of the movie, but that's what it's felt like. And that day, I totally forgot about that.
The
That
Clipper
was
game?
It was actually at a USC basketball game.
Oh, I just remember it was
but
basketball.
it was basketball, so you had it right. And not only did I think something happened to him, I physically saw.
You imagined him.
No, this
Oh.
is what I saw. I'm going to be so embarrassed to say, but this is my truth, and I'm speaking on it because it's part of my therapy to release it. I saw his murder. He went into the restroom, and I stood outside the restroom. And I remember telling him the story, and then him telling his coworkers, and then thinking it, it's funny. Like, oh my God, she thought this.
She's crazy.
Yeah, who the fuck did you marry? But he went into the restroom, and for what felt to me like an eternity, now I'm thinking something happened.
Yeah.
So now I'm seeing all these men go, and I'm seeing the same men going in to pee and coming out fast. So I'm like, what's taking him so long? And
your man knows how to wash his hands.
Right.
In reality.
But here's the thing. Maybe it was 5 minutes, but for me, felt like forever. So I see all these men coming in and out, and he's not coming out. Now I'm sweating. Now I'm just, my heart rate. Now, like you said, it becomes a physiological response. Yeah. And then I see a guy come out that looked like he did something to Alex. And I know he did something
real
to him.
Sus. That guy came out real sus, and you were like, he's like, the murderer.
Yes. And and having these thoughts that I've never had in my entire life.
Yeah.
I was very carefree.
How long were you guys married at this point?
This just happened like 3 years ago. This is right after my first treatment was in 2020.
So you had been married how long at that point? Well,
we got married in 19. But we were together for almost 4 years before we got married. So we had been together for 4 years, 5 years, maybe 5 years.
This isn't new. Like, this isn't a new relationship that you're afraid to lose.
No, and we've been living together now for 3 years. And so I see the murderer come out, and I'm like, oh, this guy, he is a murderer. At that point, Amber, I was about to, I had already looked at the guy that I was going to ask, can you please go in and check on my husband? Dead body. I was about to go up to this guy to say, go check on my husband, when he came out nonchalantly. And I was like, oh my God, what did I just create in my mind? Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to say anything because, I don't want to sound crazy. And I didn't say anything. So the drive home.
But you still had the emotions.
Well, the drive home was horrible because I was already on that emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
The drive home, I felt like we were going to crash, and that was going to be like, that guy didn't do it. The accident right now is going to do it.
And everything is, you had cheated death. That means it's around the corner. It's waiting for you. It's coming. It's chasing you. Everything you did was, I cheated death, so I know it's coming for me in the next day, in the next hour, in the next 20 minutes.
And talking back on my relationship with cancer, all the people that had cancer in my life are no longer here because they didn't.
Which is probably why it was the idea, right. I cheated death.
Down deep inside of the core of my brain and my heart is that. And so then with that started this, I just started spiraling out of control with these thoughts. I would call him on the phone, and I would call him and he wouldn't answer. He always answers. And you were like, oh, he's at home doing just whatever. He'll call me back. Nope. I called again. He didn't answer. Now I have this image. Now I'm speed driving home because now my husband had a stroke and he's lying in the bathtub dead.
And really he's like cooking dinner for you. So
yeah. He's over there vacuuming and cleaning the cat litter. So when I come home, it's done. And so I wasn't really telling him these things.
But you were coming home anxious.
Oh, my drive home was horrible. it's just really hard because it's not like that. It's very difficult. And like I was talking to Alex this week, and I'm like, the challenges of marriage for us have been very difficult because of this transition, and my healing journey has been very hard. And it's like almost I'm not the person he married. So when you say that, like, Mike isn't the person you married, and I feel, well, it's very different. I can't compare
No,
the
it's
stories,
the same.
but I just feel like I'm not the person he married, and I feel like it's not fair for him.
But at the same time, he's not the person you married. I'm not the person
Yeah,
Mike
but it's
married.
not fair that he had to change because of me, or because of my situation.
He would have changed because of another situation then. That's just life.
So I said, we have to have the downs so we know how good the ups are. But having these intrusive thoughts that were ruling my life, and then with my husband, I wasn't sitting there having these thoughts about my mom or my nieces or my siblings or my friends. It was my husband, and I was trying to figure out why my husband. Because my husband is my care provider. He's my if he's gone, what's going to happen to me? In reality, what's going to happen to me if something happens to Alex?
You're going to be sad. You're going to go through grief, and then you're going to continue with life.
You know how many friends and family I have? My cousin who lost her beautiful husband after being married for a year, and now I'm like, I look at her and I think, oh my God, how did she, like, I can't even believe it, how strong she is, but God gives you the strength.
Yeah.
And I just can't. So these intrusive thoughts were just ruling my life, and I was just getting deeper and deeper and deeper in these thoughts. And then when I started telling Alex, he's like, bro, that's crazy. So I wouldn't talk about it. So I started reading about mushrooms and psychedelics, and I was just so desperate. The counselor that I had, my therapist, I don't remember, pobrecita, she was great, but I wasn't getting anything out of it. If anything, I was her counselor. I gave her homework. I told her about kayaking. She told me, that sounds so great and amazing. I told her where to go and get a kayak, where to go kayak, what to do. And then I'm like, isn't it the other way around?
Girl, it's just like the medication. The first one is never going to be the right one. And if it is, you're blessed.
And this is
just right. You got to get another one.
So you just got to keep trying with life, though.
Yes.
A few months go by.
And everything.
About reading psychedelics, mental state, because I'm getting on a plane. Because I'm not going to stop traveling because of this. Because I finally started traveling with Alex, who hadn't really traveled.
Your anxiety stopped you.
Yeah, I couldn't even get in a car to go to Vegas. I couldn't even get in a car to go see my mom in Fontana. I would have to take the street from my city to Fontana. That's 40 miles.
Yeah.
That medicine has transformed a lot of components of my life, and it has, I don't know how to explain it.
But what are some things that you think maybe have helped you that might help someone else going through issues in their relationship because of their trauma? And correct me if I'm wrong, but what helped you is actually telling him what you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
Making sure he's aware, and that you're not just this high energy, anxious person coming home after he's over there thinking, I just cleaned the litter box and made dinner. How come she's coming at me like this?
Yeah. And I'm thinking like, well, and I didn't want to tell him, well, I thought you were dead for 30 minutes. You know what I mean? And being more vocal, because it's part of my culture and helped. Part of my culture to keep my mouth shut, because you don't want to ruffle feathers. So,
or feel stupid.
And I've done it with you.
Oh yeah,
a little bit. When if something that I know is going to make me a little anxious, the old me probably wouldn't come to you and be like, Amber, you know what? I'm kind of feeling a little bit like this today. Mm-hmm. And because you always feel like it's something that they did, and you don't want to make them feel bad. Like, yeah, because we're all always on the defensive.
Yeah.
No matter what. Yeah. They can be like, oh, like people would tell me like, that's a nice shirt. I'm like, oh, I got it at Five Below. Why do I have to tell people I got it at Five Below?
Oh, it's only $5.
Or they'll be like, oh, that's cute. I'm like, oh, I've had this for 10 years. Like, yeah. So it's part of.
Why not just feel good and be like, yes, it's cute.
And it's the same thing with saying things that don't make you feel good. Just say them. You're not. It's coming from a place of love, and yeah, marriage through trauma. That trauma that transforms you almost instantly, I guess. There's some trauma that transforms you little by little as the years go by, and there's that bang trauma that just transforms you in one day to the other.
Yeah, there's both.
For me, it's that one also because of with my trauma, and because of, like we talked about, I had a hysterectomy, and like my hormones and chemically imbalanced, I guess you can say, or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, your hormones were just cut off.
Yeah, that's like if somebody chopped your nuts off and said, "Here you go, go be a man."
Yeah, like
go be a man.
Fucked up. You have a hormone imbalance.
So
learn
to be the new me.
But sharing
because I don't know what that is. I don't know what the me new is. I just know it's not what I was 10 years ago. That's all I know. I haven't pinpointed and say these are the new components of me that I really love. I love the new me that loves to learn. I didn't like learning.
No.
Let's talk about that coming up.
Yeah, that'll come up.
Let me embrace that instead of missing the fun, loud energy, because I don't have high energy anymore. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired. And then I get mad at myself. Why am I tired? I didn't do shit.
But I also think it's important to like, maybe you don't want to sulk and miss that old person, but you are going to grieve. You should grieve that person, losing that person, missing that person. But then also remember, even if you didn't have the trauma that you experienced, you're still going to somehow grow up and mature.
Yeah.
And still miss that person.
Right.
It was just that this was how you did it. Everyone around you misses their old self.
Well, we all look at pictures of ourselves when we were younger, and we're like, hey, what happened to that girl? I don't look like that anymore.
So Mike has constant pictures of us and our old life so that it can help trigger memories, or at least tell him he's been to Iceland, all these images every single day.
On the computer, they just kind of like...
Yeah, and also his phone, he has them all.
On his phone también.
And every single day he has like a thing of memories that pops up, and it's a different group of memories every single day. And I'll see them sometimes, and it's like, damn, I missed that. Like we were talking about this morning, like, look at the cute little young couple in that picture. Carefree.
Just get in the car and go. Go get in the car and go.
Yeah.
And do it.
My big old hoops. My hair looked amazing.
Yeah.
His hair was cut by a barber, not by me, because he was able to sit in a chair long enough. It's just amazing. Like, we miss it. But you have to grieve the loss of your organs that got taken out. You also have to grieve the loss of that person you were. You have to grieve that. And I don't think people put it in that way. When you're looking for how do I get through things, no one says you're going to go through the 5 stages of grief, because it's not someone that died.
Yeah.
But
grief,
in reality,
we relate to someone dying. I saw, actually, not to quote the Kardashians, but on the Kardashians, the mom gets a hysterectomy because she has something in her ¿cómo se llama? Your ovary. And she was very sad about it because she says, this is the home where I raised my children in.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my God, I never had children. I never wanted children. But that episode made me realize that I didn't give myself the opportunity to grieve that womanhood, because even though I didn't want children and that was my wound in my ovaries and my uterus, that was still a part of my identity. And I never really thought about it that way. So maybe that's a part that I need to really tap in.
Yeah.
These things help me. You know what helps me tap in is the mushrooms. Because this is why I want the mushrooms. And with the mushrooms, I've had some amazing revelations and some amazing thoughts and some amazing ways of thinking about life and seeing it in a different perspective, that I know it's the medicine, because this is what I've been calling the medicine to give me. To do, yeah. Because...
And it's what you found in the research that it can do.
Yeah.
Which is great.
And I'm the biggest testimony. I'm not here to talk about other people's story. There's 3 other testimonies that I can verify. So it's almost like, I was even like, I'll be the guinea pig. This is how fucking crazy desperate I feel. I'll be the guinea pig.
Yeah.
This is how desperate. And I became the guinea pig. But you have to educate yourself and know how to dose and talk to the right people. I mean, I got connected to a community like we were talking about earlier. This man added me to a community that it was great, because all the questions that I had are coming from people who are experts, who are veterans, who have had trauma.
They learned it
from the World War, whatever, Vietnam War, and they were alcoholics or druggies, and then did mushrooms. Revolutionary, you know.
I think there's a Netflix special out on that.
There is some really
that help
good
people with addiction
on Netflix and Hulu. I just don't know the names.
I feel like maybe people aren't realizing how much work we're also putting into our relationships while going through all this. Because there's a lot of caregiver role on my end.
Right, yes.
And there's a lot of, we don't really know each other anymore because, like you said, we're different people. lacking of sexual attraction.
Mm-hmm.
There's lacking of what a relationship has.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also very similar, there are a lot of similarities to what people also feel without having a brain injured, like that's just his title, the brain injured, without having some type of brain injury happen or cancer happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, normal relationships face the same issues just because they've been together so long and love dies out. It doesn't feel healthy.
Yeah.
Question ourselves still.
Mm-hmm. Working on myself and practicing some of these things that we do together. We'll sit and watch videos together.
Yeah.
We've done journaling together. We'll sit outside and do I got Play-Doh this week for us to sit. This is my idea. I don't know, my idea. We were talking about like what my idea of therapy is versus Alex is very different.
Yeah.
But I think being able to connect with your spouse other than, did you see the TikTok?
Yeah.
Did you see the face? Did you see that? Julie down the street on Facebook, she went to we're just so quick
gossiping.
to show everybody's life and what they're doing.
But you're not sharing your life with your husband.
No.
And what you did and what you felt and what you
right,
thought
because
today.
we're so on the go and social media and the phone has ruled us that I just feel like it's the devil. Actually, I went to the concert. I told you I went to the concert. I didn't pull out my phone one time. I've never done that. I've never gone somewhere and not recorded.
That's so great.
And it was the most, I think I cried like 5 times just being immersed in the actual.
Being present in it.
And not just seeing, like, I was like, everybody's just looking at Chris Brown dancing. I was looking at like the visuals he had, like everything together. I don't know how to explain it other than I see everything as a big picture versus.
Little picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, you weren't looking through, ¿cómo se dice?
A scope.
Little like pinpoint microscope.
Yeah. I went with a concert with my girlfriends last year and I remember feeling so free, and I had already done my microdosing and looking around and then just seeing everybody recording and looking at the concert through their phone.
Isn't it sad?
And I'm like, I just paid $450.
How much money? Yeah.
I spent $450 to see this. And then when I go home, I don't remember what I saw because I wasn't present.
Mm-hmm.
And so the mushrooms have really helped me tap into being present as much as I can, because obviously I'm not perfect. But I have now seen, when you become aware, as they say, and you become present, it's almost hard to unsee the scene, the unknown, or whatever, how they say. I don't know how the comment goes. Me and Suhei are in the, Suhei hasn't done any of this, but I feel like some people have the intuitive awakening awareness already in them.
Yeah.
And she's always been this way. So I have been able to connect with her on the things that I've learned through my journey. And she's like, I've always felt this way.
Do you feel like, because there's a big age gap between you and your sister,
Yeah,
right?
I think it's like 15 or 14 years apart.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she was like my daughter. When she was little, they thought she was my daughter. I was 14 helping my mom push the stroller. I'd be like, oh, you're a kid. And I'd be so offended. Like,
I bet.
Oh, how dare you?
But do you think that it's not that you guys, that you didn't have it in you and that she has it in you, but the difference of the way you were raised?
I believe it's always been in me, my trauma and all the things that I've
covered it up.
It's like when you cover dirt.
Yeah.
And you're just putting piles and piles of dirt on something, and it's always there, because I do feel genetic in our genes. There's something very special about being in tune, because my brother has had it from day one, my brother Milton. And I always thought he was weird. He would do the yoga and the breathing. And I'm like, what is he doing? Now I'm just like, I get up, girl, and I start breathing so loud that I'm like, if the neighbors hear me, they think I'm probably having sex. And I'm like, release, breathe, stretch. You go to the bathroom, like, and that's what we are. We should be intended to release and stretch and stuff. So I do believe that it's been in me, and I just feel like the mushrooms have helped me tap into my lineage and my ancestors. I don't know. And then we'll talk about I don't know, did we ever talk about my journey and what happened? Because I feel like the mushrooms have helped me. Remember, I think you asked me, was I on cannabis when I took the sound journey?
Yeah, you were going to tell a story on that.
But the thing is, what I want to say is the mushrooms have helped me tap into my inner self. That has helped me open my heart to receive these things.
To be that way when you're not on mushrooms.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not on weed. I'm not high. I'm not drunk. Like I am receiving these things because I'm open. Does that make sense?
It taught you how to be more present after, like it cured whatever reason you weren't present, and now you are present.
Yes. Do you think vocalizing it is the beginning stages of trying to figure out how to do life through trauma? Because I believe that not vocalizing things is one of the number one killers of a marriage, is not communication.
The lack of communication.
Yeah. I would say that in this journey has helped me be as open as I've ever been. I've never really talked about if I feel a certain way.
And like, it was easier to start practicing communicating with your spouse than with your mom.
Yes, 100%.
So your relationship with your spouse has gotten stronger and stronger and better.
But there's also the breaking points that break it all the way down. You build it up, and then now I got to get a CT scan now, and he's like, tell the doctor this and this, and I'm like, why did I tell the doctor this? The doctor's gonna know. And now there's a little fight because he'll say one thing, and I'm like, what's my body? And it breaks down. Mm-hmm. But then the next day, I come and say, these, like I told him, these anxious feelings maybe never will go away.
Maybe not.
I'll have to live with this a little cloud following me. Am I going to get a positive, or is it going to be a negative? And I said, and I don't expect you to realize that, but I'm expressing that feeling to him.
Yeah.
When otherwise I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I just man up, soak it up. I mean, swallow it, or como se dice, and don't say nothing.
Yeah, but it's manifesting in your body into some negative energy,
and I'm creating more cancer.
But also and then you guys stop communicating, then you start hating each other on things, then you're questioning, why isn't she telling me this, why isn't he saying this? Mm-hmm. And now you're making it up in your head why they're saying this and that, and now you're being paranoid, and it just spirals.
So I think I would say communication, learning to communicate, is
even how uncomfortable it feels.
It sucks.
And you're crying, and he's looking at you like, why are you even fucking crying?
Yeah, I'm like, I thought you were dead. You didn't answer.
Like, but I'm not. But I just went to pee, and I went out the other exit.
And you can't get rid of that feeling in your body.
No.
It stays in your body for hours. Or when you have a dream, when you wake up and it's a bad dream, and you carry that emotion, and maybe you don't tell your husband, I had this dream about you.
But if you
because you feel embarrassed.
If you do communicate.
But I do say it.
Now it's better.
So communication
is key.
This has really showed me that communication, when they say communication is key, there is nothing around it.
Yeah.
It's hard to communicate sometimes when somebody who doesn't want to listen, though.
It's funny. Oh my God, yeah. And that's where I think, the divorce numbers are like 50% of marriages end in divorce. Like, you have a 1 out of 2 chance. For every marriage, every 2 marriages, one makes it.
Yeah, like us too. Maybe one of us is going to make it, the other one's not.
Yeah, well, I think we've cleared it up.
But I'm saying, like, that's a statistic. Statistically speaking, one of us would be divorced.
Oh, by now, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy, like, to think of it. Why is that happening? And I think it's for many reasons. Let's not get into that. But you said something that made me think that's a common conversation we have in our household. You said, something with you being anxious. You said that anxious feeling that you have, you may always have it. The same thing for my household. We have our issues that we're working on, and we don't want to continue to happen, but we know might keep happening. Anything could keep happening. We don't know the future. But what we promise each other audibly, we say it out loud, is, yes, I'm pissed off. I'm anxious right now. This is what's happening. And I promise you, I will continue to work on myself. I'm aware I might always be this way. And he's accepted I might always be this way. But he's only accepting it because he knows that I'm never going to stop trying for him, for myself, and for him.
Because you don't want to stop trying.
No.
You don't want to be this way.
But we promise each other. It makes it almost like I'm okay with him having a brain injury. I'm okay with him being a new person, not knowing who I am, forgetting my name, forgetting his daughter's name. I'm okay with that because I know he's genuinely trying to remember every single day. He's genuinely working on himself every single day.
Right.
it makes it okay for me to move forward with him, not without him.
Right.
And same for him. I have a lot of problems. And for him to be okay letting me make his choices and continuing to be married to me is because he knows I every single day continue to work on myself.
Yeah.
I think it's huge, and it always goes back to communicating that with each other. We can fight, we can both be in tears. Well, he doesn't really cry. I can be in tears, and we will still end it with, I promise to keep trying.
Yeah.
Trying to do better every day.
And that's important to vocalize it and say it.
Yeah, like something we know.
Because we know.
We know I'm going to keep trying.
He knows that you love him.
But to say it out loud,
it's different.
Just kind of reassures it a little bit better.
And it's always important to vocalize, whether you're feeling good or not, just to vocalize it.
Why don't you guys like, follow, share with your comadre, your tío, your cousin, your friend. Just hit that subscribe button. See you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.